Some Resident Evil fans, when you ask them to explain female Resident Evil fans isn't a Leon TikTok RE4 fans, some female Resident Evil fans, how some people in the Resident Evil fans, some Resident Evil fans add I get it! Does the Resident Evil fandom have a LARPing issue? I would say yes, but first, I think we need to define what LARPing Resident Evil means. From what I mainly see around the fandom, LARPing Resident Evil generally just means not playing the games, interacting with the story only through edits or TikTok, shipping Leon Ada constantly, only liking Leon Ada as characters, only playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, and a more toxic take that I see is being a fan of the remakes and not playing the original game. And I'll touch more on that later. When I first started to encounter Resident Evil LARPers, it was around the time the Resident Evil 4 Remake came out. When that game came out, my TikTok, Instagram, everything became flooded with Leon and Ada thirst traps, Leon and Ada goon bait cosplayers, gooner and thirsty mods on Resident Evil 4. You know, there's a time and a place for those kind of things, but for some reason, there's a side of the fandom that are just gooners. Like, they've only played Resident Evil 4, they only thirst over Leon and Ada, and I think the gooner bait cosplayers came to a head when Baby No Money hopped on the trend. No, I feel like everything goes back to Baby No Money, and I won't cover this for too long because everyone's talked this to death, but no Leon cosplayer that actually likes the character is going to cosplay the crop top and a thong. That only became a thing when Leon Gooners decided to mod that into the game, and they've only played Resident Evil 4 Remake. And I love the Resident Evil 4 Remake, but it just spawned in just the worst crowd for the fandom. And I think that's exactly where the posers came in to the fandom. To this day, I still see people in comment sections that just haven't played the games or finished the game. I remember in a TikTok comment section, someone made an edit, and the top comment, I should have taken a picture of it. The top comment had 1,000 likes, and it was like, did Emily and Sherry meet in the orphanage? No, they didn't meet. Did you play Resident Evil 2 Remake? Did you play Requiem? And this is a big issue with people just not playing games or finishing games. I remember seeing a Requiem edit on TikTok, and the caption said, "I really hope Emily's okay." Bro, did you play the game just so you can make edits? Did you not finish the game? Did you not make it to the end? Now this kind of brings up another issue that I have with the fandom, is that there's a lot of elitists in the fandom that I really don't like. I think they're just as bad as these LARPers. Maybe not just as bad, but they're headed in that direction. And then something I see that I want to talk about is, does watching the games on YouTube, does that count as being a fan? And I would say yes, it can. Now everybody has different circumstances. If the only way you can experience these games is through watching YouTube, then that's okay. And I don't really like when people say you aren't a real fan unless you've played the games. Yes, I agree with that to a certain extent, because not everyone has the means to be able to buy these games, not to buy a PS5 or to buy a PC. Now, do I think that you can have a valid opinion on whether a game is fun or not? I would say no, but if you are genuinely trying to interact with the story, with the fandom, with the lore, and the characters, and you love the characters, you love the story, then yes, I think that does make you a fan of something. If you're not interacting with something, why would you not be a fan of it? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that kind of side of the fandom can get super toxic just because people are being very defensive over something they love, and I understand that. I'm a huge Sonic fan, and after Sonic 3 came out, a ton of LARPers came into the fandom, so I completely get it, and I've been through it in the Resident Evil fandom and the Sonic fandom, and we are heading towards a realm of elitism. That brings me to my next point. Does being a fan of the remakes make you a real fan? I think the answer is yes. I mean, as long as you played more than Resident Evil 4 Remake, as long as you played all the remakes and you're playing the Ethan Winters games, then yeah, I would say so. If you're still interacting with the lore, wanting to know more, then yeah, I think that's fine, and it makes you a real fan. I see so many videos on my feed just talking about how the remakes are bad games and how they're soulless, whatever that means, and that's where I think we're entering that realm of elitism with the remakes. The remakes are a great way for modern gamers to get into the series. It's how I got into this series with RE2 Remake. Now, do I think they should play the original games? I say yes just because they're great games and they're missing out, but I completely understand why people who've never grew up with those games are turned off by fixed camera angles and take controls. They are clunky, they age like milk, but to learn take controls, it takes like 5 minutes to understand them. It's not hard at all, and I love the fixed camera angles personally, but you should definitely give them a chance if you haven't played them yet, because you're seriously missing out on some great games that you haven't played. Now, my conclusion on this whole LARPing situation in the Resident Evil fandom is I hate LARPers just like the next guy. I hate posers, but don't become an elitist gatekeeper just because you want to defend something you love, which is understandable, But we can't be calling everybody a LARPer just because they haven't played Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color.